Hello everyone, my name is Shayna, and I'm just going to make a quick little video about what really happened at the Tony Robbins event this past weekend in San Jose. I figured it might be a little bit more accurate if you guys heard from somebody who was actually there as opposed to an interview from somebody who was just walking by and had no idea what was going on. So I had no idea that this was going to turn into such a huge thing on the media. And if you already are going to, label everyone as Kool-Aid drinking, brainwashed Tony Robbins fanatics, then just stop watching right now because there's nothing I could say that would change your closed-minded opinion anyway. So, with that said, even if I absolutely freaking adored Tony Robbins, which I do, but I would tell you guys the truth and the facts. And that's all I'm trying to do is give you guys the facts. So whether certain things could have been done differently or what, that's whatever. But the facts are the facts, and what's bothering me is that everything that's in the media and in the news is just completely wrong, like completely in the other direction of what really happened. So I haven't even read or listened to any other, I'm sure ABC News and LA Times and all of these news stations have, similar stories. I've read a couple of them, but the main one I read was on Drudge Report. And I love Drudge Report. I read his stuff all the time, and I read this article, and I literally laughed out loud because it was just so outrageously inaccurate. Just the vocabulary used of, shrieking pain, and it was horrific, and people were screaming in agony and torture, and it was awful. That's just funny. That's just flat out funny to me. Because, basically, first of all, there were 6,000 people there, like a little over 6,000 people there, which is about 2,000 more than there usually are. I think ever since his Oprah interview or his Oprah appearance, he got a lot more people that came to this UPW. And so, yeah, that's one thing which changes the numbers a lot, because I'm sure when it's usually 4,000 people, there's about 5 people who end up getting blisters or burned or whatever. But this time it was 21, which I'm sure there was a lot more. It's just that people weren't bitching about it because they took a completely different meaning from it, which I have proof of that, but I'll tell you that in a second. But basically, the whole day before we do the fire walk, you're given hours of instructions. We just talk about it and what to do and what state of mind you have to get in, and how to just walk across in a smooth motion and everything like that. So the scientist who was interviewed on that report, by the way, it has nothing to do with state of mind. It's all about the temperature and the pressure. Obviously, scientifically, I'm sure it has something to do with that. But first of all, what about the chick who lifted a car off of her son who got ran over? Did that have to do with state of mind? Does walking on nails have to do with state of mind? Obviously, it does a little bit. I'm sure the physics and scientifically has to do with the pressure and all of that. I'm sure that is also true. Obviously, that's just a given. But it also has to do with state of mind, because if your state of mind is staring at the coals and thinking, oh my God, I'm going to get burned, what are you going to do? You're going to stand there longer. You're going to put more pressure down on the coals and get burned, just like the scientist was saying. So it kind of all goes hand in hand if you think of it that way. But with that aside, there were, a lot more kids there this time, which kids have done it. I know of a 7-year-old who did it and was fine. My grandma, personally, 72 years old, did it and was fine, along with the fact that we're focusing on 21 people who got blisters, 3 of which got severe burns. What about the 5,000 whatever that didn't? Are we just going to focus on the little small group of people that did? Second of all, the shrieks of pain. I have the recording on my phone. I should probably post that with this, which maybe I will when I get internet working on my computer. But if you don't know what's going on and you're just walking by this event, it sounds like people are screaming in terror. But anyone who's been to a Tony Robbins seminar knows that you spend a lot of time. My voice sounds kind of scratchy still right now from just screaming so much, and you're always just, woo, yeah, whatever. And on my recording of the fire walk, there was a particular scream that sounded like, ah, like this person was in pain. Like if you didn't know, you would think, oh my God, what is going on over there? There's people hollering and screaming and weird bongo music and, all of this kind of stuff. So it sounds pretty crazy. But the reality is everyone's walking across these things. Everyone is screaming and cheering. You're supposed to celebrate when you get to the other side, which is all the, woo, oh my God, and that's what that was. It wasn't literally out of the 21 people that were burned, not a single one of those people was screaming in agony. Nobody screamed in agony. The people that did get burned walked across, and then afterwards were like, oh shit, my feet hurt, or that burned. And then they hobbled over or had friends help them walk over to where the paramedics were standing on standby. Yeah, there was no sirens and ambulances rolling into the scene and the chaos and helping these third-degree burn victims who were on the floor screaming in pain like that. That's just not what happened. They walked over to where there were designated paramedics, and then they said, hey, can you look at my feet because they're burning? And they looked at them, and some people got bandages. Some of them, apparently, I never saw the 3 people who got severe burns and were taken away, that is unfortunate. I mean, you know that there's a risk of getting your feet burned when you're walking on coals. Has nothing to do with Tony and his, it's just, I just love the articles with the quotes around, the so-called motivational speaker, blah, 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 as if Tony didn't do his job right, and as a result, 21 people got severe burns on their feet. I mean, anyways, my point is as somebody who was actually there was no screaming and hollering of pain and agony and distress and chaos. Okay, 6,000 people. I mean, obviously there was probably a good, I don't know, I'll guess 100 people that didn't do it maybe. But about 6,000 people walking across these coals, 21 people, which to me, that's not even 1% of the people, and everyone knows that there's a risk in doing that. It has nothing to do. I mean, the other part I wanted to say too, I know I ramble a lot, but I actually partnered up with a couple people who did get burned, and every single person I talked to that got burned even said out of their own mouths, their own words, were like, oh, I totally forgot to listen to what they said to do. I totally got out of state of mind, and I looked down at the coals, and I was staring at them, and I just, I freaked out, and I messed up, and, now my feet are burned as a result. So nobody was sitting there being like, that damn Tony, like, he said that we could do this, and blah, blah, blah. And there is actually somebody who started off kind of upset and disappointed, and she gave it a completely different meaning. And I'm not going to say the name of this person or anything like that, but she looked at it as like, hey, I am still alive. Like, I burned my feet. I got some blisters, and she was afraid she wasn't going to be able to jump around the next day and everything like that. And then the next morning she woke up and she was fine. She's like, I just had this one dark spot of like dead skin in the middle of my foot. And she said a piece of her kind of hoped that it wouldn't go away, just kind of as a reminder of what she could do, and, that it hurt and it was, it was painful, but she made it through, and she decided to walk through it and came out on the other side okay. And that was the meaning she gave it. Whereas some people, give it a different meaning, and they look at it as like, this stupid seminar and stupid Tony, and now I burned my feet, and this wasn't supposed to happen, and life is never supposed to turn out this way because life is so predictable, right? And there's never any pain in it. But anyways, I know I sound a little hostile and defensive in this. It's just really frustrating reading articles, and even, like I said, even if I hated Tony's guts, use that example. If I hated his guts and I read these articles, I would still be like, okay, look, I hate the dude's guts, but that's just not true. That just didn't happen. So, yeah, it's a little frustrating to just read things that are completely inaccurate. I just felt the need to kind of tell you guys that you should probably ask more of the people that were there instead of reading these quotes and this interview from this kid who had no idea what was going on and got his 50 seconds of fame, which turned into headlining news, to say whatever he said. So, again, I talked to people who got burned. They were all fine. The people I talked to anyways, I'm sure there's a couple that are pissed off or whatever, but the people that I talked to said that they got out of state of mind. There was a couple kids there that I think were part of the group of 21. And yeah, it was 6,000 people. I mean, what do you expect? So that is basically the gist of what I have to say. It's all what meaning you give it, and just don't believe everything you read. Like I said, if you're already a Tony Robbins hater and you would look for anything to criticize what he does, which is, again, talk to the thousands, millions of people that have gone to these before and ask them what meaning they've given their experience, and ask them what they've gotten out of the seminar, and I guarantee you 9.5 out of 10 people, that doesn't even make sense, but that's how confident I am in it, is that 9.5 out of 10 people will tell you that it's an amazing, life-changing event, and it's just awesome. It's awesome. It's an amazing experience. This was my second UPW. I've walked on fire twice now, and it's not even fire, it's coals. I've walked on hot coals twice now and have been fine. Like I said, my 70-year-old grandma walked on coals. Little kids walked on coals. Some people, stuff happens. So that's all I have to say about it. Talk to people that were there. 90% of the people had an amazing, life-altering experience. And then, of course, you're going to find people that just don't have that experience. So it's up to you. You choose the 0.5% of people over the 95.5% of people, and then, that's your option. I just thought that you should know the truth, and that these reports and these quotes and these articles are just completely not what happened at all. There was nobody screaming in pain. Nobody screamed in pain. Not even somebody with a third-degree burn was walking through going, "Wow, my God, my pain!" It happened afterwards, and the bubbles and the blisters came afterwards. Nobody was screaming in pain. Everyone was screaming in excitement and energy and celebrating. So anyways, that is all I have to say about that. I've attached a link to an interview from one of the other people that was there, but this is one of the many. I'll try to find the article that I was talking about the girl who actually did get burned but gave it her own meaning. I don't know if she really wants to make that public yet, so can't really attach that. But I'll attach what I can, and yeah, you do what you want with the information. I just wanted to get it out there that Tony Robbins is phenomenal, and the experience is amazing, and I highly recommend going to a UPW. Again, this was my second one, and I got more out of this one than I did on the first one, because you're always going to put different meanings to it depending on where you're at in your life and what experiences are occurring in your life at the moment. So, that's all I have to say. If you sat through almost 12 minutes of this, then rock on. All right. Thanks for listening. Bye.